Welcome. Today, we are going on a journey, an expedition really, right into the heart of Scripture. Why? Because we're going to uncover a spiritual truth so profound, it might just change how you see everything. Let's get started.
So, let me kick things off with a big question. Where is the most sacred, the most holy place in the entire universe? I mean, what comes to mind? Maybe some distant golden heaven? A grand ancient cathedral? But what if I told you the answer is way closer and infinitely more personal than you've ever imagined?
To find that answer, we've got to start our investigation with a single, incredibly powerful piece of evidence. It's a clue from Scripture that completely flips our understanding of what it means to have access to God. It literally creates a radically new reality for us.
You see, way back at the beginning, humanity had this amazing face-to-face friendship with God. But that direct access, well, it was lost. The core of what we're digging into today is the absolutely incredible news that this access hasn't just been, patched up. It's been fully, completely, and permanently restored through Christ.
Okay, so how can we be so sure about this? Well, our central clue, the blueprint for this whole new reality, is packed into one single verse. We're heading to the book of Revelation, chapter 7, verse 15.
Now, on the surface, this is just a beautiful picture of what worship in heaven looks like, right? But hidden inside the original language are these amazing keys that unlock a reality that applies to you and me right here, right now. We're about to decode this verse piece by piece.
To really get what's being said here, we have to go back to the source code, to the original Greek. And trust me, this isn't just some boring academic exercise. It's like switching from an old black and white photo to glorious high-definition color. The details just pop. So, let's zoom in on the first key phrase, before the throne of God. It sounds simple, but what does that word before really mean in this context?
The Greek word they used here is enopion. And enopion doesn't just mean you're kind of standing in front of something or nearby. No, its core meaning is to be in the sight of, to be directly in the presence of an authority. We're talking about a face-to-face encounter.
So here's the takeaway, and this is huge. This isn't about being in the nosebleed section of a giant stadium. This is a backstage, VIP, all-access pass. It means you are standing directly in God's presence with total, unrestricted access. No barriers, no waiting in line.
Okay, that brings us to the next part. What are we actually doing in this place of total access? The verse says we serve Him, but what kind of service are we talking about here?
Well, the word for serve here is diakoneo, and this isn't about reluctant chores or punching a time clock. Diakoneo is all about ministering to someone, actively and continuously waiting on them with devotion. It's the kind of service that flows out of love, not duty. You see what this means? Our role in God's presence isn't some heavy burden. It's a continuous, joyful ministry. It's an act of worship that we are empowered to do constantly, day and night. It's just who we are now. All right, now for the third, and honestly, maybe the most game-changing clue of them all. Where is all this happening? The verse says, in His temple. Now, this might just be the most misunderstood part of this entire passage.
The Greek word used here is naos. Now, back in the ancient world, a temple complex had all sorts of outer courts and buildings, but the naos was different. The naos was the inner sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, the literal dwelling place of the deity. It was the most sacred, most exclusive, most restricted place of all.
Okay, so we've decoded the clues, we've got our position, right in the very presence of God, we've got our action, continuous, joyful ministry, and we've got our location, the inner sanctuary, the naos itself. Now, let's put these pieces together and see the full picture.
When you put all that rich meaning back in, the verse just explodes with clarity. It's saying, because of this, these people are standing directly in the presence of God, ministering to Him continuously inside His inner sanctuary, and He who sits on the throne will literally pitch His tent and live permanently among them. The power in that is it's breathtaking.
So let's just quickly recap what this means for us. First, we have total access and intimacy with God. Second, our service isn't a chore, it's constant, joyful worship. Third, we're not in the outer courts, we are in the naos, God's very dwelling place. And finally, His presence isn't a temporary visit, it is permanent.
But hold on. This leads us to one final, absolutely mind-blowing revelation. If we are serving in the naos, in the inner sanctuary, where is this temple today? The answer to that question changes everything. See, the temple in the Old Testament was a physical building, a place where God's presence was limited and access was restricted to only a few. But the New Covenant reveals a completely new kind of temple. It's not a building made of stone and gold. It's a spiritual one, made of people. God's presence isn't just at a place anymore, it's within you.
The Apostle Paul couldn't be clearer about this. He doesn't say, hey, you should go to the temple. He looks at the believers and says, for ye are the temple of the living God. God's ultimate promise was fulfilled not by us building a house for him, but by him making his home in us.
And Jesus himself sealed the deal with this promise. He said that he and the Father would come to anyone who loves him and make their abode, their permanent, settled-in dwelling place with that person.
And this brings us right back full circle to our very first question. The most sacred place in the universe, the Holy of Holies, the throne room of God. It isn't a physical location you have to travel to. It's a people. It's the community of believers. And it's you.
So I want to leave you with this one thought to wrestle with. If the God who sits on the throne of the universe has made his inner sanctuary, his naos, within you, if his very throne room is now your own heart, how does that change everything about how you live, how you pray, and how you see yourself today?